But you'd all be familiar with one of these. But did you know that the hexagonal shape of pencils was made as an alternative to round pencils to stop them from rolling off the desk? That's right. I'm full of brilliant facts like that. But why am I talking about a pencil, you ask? Well, because of our next story.
You can shave a pencil. You can shave your face. I bet you didn't know you could shave a tree. Robbie, I do think shaving a tree is pretty cool, but why shave a tree?
Well, shaving or peeling, is probably more known by industry, is a method of converting a log to produce veneer, and that veneer then we can then use to make plywood type products, or veneer-based composite products as we like to call them. Now the reason for our research is really looking at plantation grown hardwoods and ways to convert thinnings into a valuable product.
Okay, so thinning makes me think like the trees are on a diet or something like that, so what exactly are thinnings?
Now, thinnings are referred to as a young tree that's been removed from a plantation. And generally when plantation growers grow trees, unlike other crops, they'll plant them fairly dense, a lot of trees in a small area, and that promotes tall growth and also nice straight trees. But they get to a certain age where they'll start competing against each other for nutrients and water and the like. So we go through and we take out some of those trees to give the others room to grow bigger and leave them for the full rotation.
So Robbie, how do you turn something like this into this?
Yeah, we'll use the machine behind us here, which is a spinnerless veneer lathe, and it relies on rollers which turn the log around, and those rollers close in and force the log up against a big long knife that runs all the way along the log, and as that log spins, and that force against the knife just peels out a long ribbon of veneer.
Yeah, right, so it's kind of like a sort of a massive pencil shaver sort of thing.
Yeah, very similar. It peels the full length of the log, not just on the end, of course.
So each of those single veneers which were shaved off the tree are then stuck together into something like this?
Yep, correct. So once it comes off the back of the lathe we saw just before, they're dried, glued and then stuck together in a big press to form panels or beams similar to these products in front of us here.
And this is the testing facility where you test their strength?
This is the testing facility. We do some strength and stiffness testing to determine, make sure their properties are good enough for things like construction products.
Okay, now my final question is, this is an environmental sort of research project, so how is chopping up trees and that sort of thing environmental?
Yeah, it certainly is. So these are all plantation grown timbers we're working on here. So they're specific trees grown for the purpose of timber production, not unlike a product such as wheat, for example. They're planted and grown and then harvested. The other benefit of timber over a lot of other building products, of course, is trees actually absorb carbon from the atmosphere, and then once they're actually harvested, they become a carbon store cycle.
And all the wood used here would otherwise be wasted?
Yep. So the trees we're working on at the moment are all thinnings. So at this stage they're just cut down and left in the bush because they're not big enough to go into products. So we're researching ways to bring those resources back out and use them into products.
You guessed it, guys. We have come to the end of another show, but thank you so much for all of your input. It wouldn't have been as awesome without you.